Are there any additions, deletions, rearranging, or anything? Yes, sir. What are we waiting for?
We have no additions or deletions.
Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, this is the audience participation part of the program. This is the chance for you, in fact, to all get a chance to raise your hand if you're going to be speaking or presenting or trying to persuade anything that goes on up here tonight. If you would, Sherry, would you swear everybody in?
Please stand and raise your right hand if you plan to give testimony. You swear and affirm the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so say yes. Yes.
Thank you. We have proof of publication, I saw it. I'm sure
Yes,
others up here saw it.
In the
So
meeting packet.
we have two cases tonight, like I mentioned, as mentioned earlier, there's no withdrawals for postponement, so consent agenda. We don't have a consent agenda. Let's go to new business. New business, PZB, project number 21-01-00001. Ordinance 2022-08. And this is a plan development, major site plan, conditional use permit, and sustainable bonus request for the Detroit Street / Buffalo Street 7 Detroit Street and 26 Buffalo Street to construct an approximately 3 stories. I don't know how you have approximately 3 stories, but 3-story, 60-unit, multi-unit family mid-rise residential structure. The sustainable bonus request is for an additional 1 story in height and approximately 6 foot in height. The property is on mixed use west, MU-W. And this is a continuation from the June 1st meeting.
And if we could, Kylie, have any board disclosures at this time for this project?
Let's see, let's go down the board. Anybody talk to anybody? Meet with anybody?
Nothing.
Get candies, flowers, or anything from anybody?
No.
Okay, okay. So yours were all clean. I had my new.
Thank you.
Whenever you're ready.
Just wait for the PowerPoint to get. Thank you.
Okay, can everybody see the screen?
Yes, I can. We have a couple of them up there. We'll have 3 of them.
All right, thanks, Sherry. Fair members of the board. Good evening. For the record, Scott Rodriguez of the Planning and Zoning Division. The item before you is the Detroit Street, Buffalo Street request to construct a multifamily mid-rise residential structure utilizing the Sustainable Bonus Program. The Sustainable Bonus Program request is for an additional 1 story in height and approximately 6 feet in height. Subject site is located south of 2nd Avenue North between Buffalo Street and Detroit Street and within the mixed-use west building district. Bree Lieberman of Pacific Land Holdings LLC is requesting consideration of a plan development, major site plan, conditional use permit for an approximately 3-story, 60-unit multifamily mid-rise residential structure. The proposed project consists of 2 3-story buildings totaling 60 dwelling units. And again, utilizing the sustainable bonus program for the additional story. And accessory office. The dwelling units will be comprised of either 2 or 3 bedrooms. 90 parking spaces are provided through the plan development waiver process. Staff is proposing the condition to provide on-street parking. And I'll discuss the parking condition a little later in the presentation.
We hope so.
So moving on to the renderings. The next 2 slides are showing renderings of the ground level view with proposed architecture and conceptual landscaping. And next slide, please. This is the current condition of the vacant site and is generally compatible with the residential and non-residential surrounding properties. Next slide, please. The table on the right shows the base zoning district development regulations for the site compared with the residential plan development with sustainable bonus and what the applicant has provided. The project was found to be generally consistent with the city's land development regulations. As the table notes, in the parking section in red, a waiver has been requested to reduce the parking from 109 required spaces to 90 spaces. Staff is proposing on-street parking with applicable landscaping, specifically street trees, to break up the on-street parking. The on-street parking would be provided on 2nd Avenue North and Detroit Street. The on-street parking would eliminate the waiver and the street trees would be counted towards the sustainable bonus. And the street trees would replace the top lot towards the sustainable bonus, which I didn't mention this before, but it was addressed in the previous slide as one of the amendments. So the top lot was going to be counted towards the sustainable bonus program.
And you're saying that that's been removed then?
It's being replaced.
Replaced.
The top lot is staying, Greg, but the sustainable bonus request is being removed. They're not going to take it as credit for the sustainable bonus.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks.
A voice was
The project is consistent with the comprehensive plan, strategic plan, and the city's LDRs as conditioned, as well as other land development regulations as indicated, qualitative development standards, community appearance criteria, and specific standards for all conditional uses. As indicated just now, as Aaron clarified, proposing a top lot and Florida Green Building certification was proposed to meet their incentive requirement, and the on-street parking would replace that as the incentive. Staff is recommending approval with conditions as outlined on pages 7 through 9 of the staff report. And if we go to the next slide, these are the actions the board may consider. And I just want to highlight in red or show on the slide that this is the addition to that particular condition. On-street parking shall be provided along 2nd Avenue North and or Detroit Street, subject to the approval by the city engineer, public services, and Department of Community and Sustainability. To reduce the parking waiver request, a minor site plan shall be required to reflect on-street parking prior to the application and issuance of the building permit. And that concludes my presentation.
That's it. Does the applicant want to come up first or talk about it? Do we want to? You heard what the city had to say.
I do.
Now it's your turn.
I have a lot of repetition.
That's what you get for going second.
I know, exactly. So good evening, I'm Lauren McClellan with J. Morton Planning and Landscape Architecture. On behalf of the applicant tonight, I'm representing the Detroit residential project. Which was on the screen. Oh, bring it up, I'm sorry. I have a lot of the same information that staff already went over. I can go through some of it. I can just kind of go through really fast with it. So if you go to the next slide, please. So as staff mentioned, we're requesting plan development, a major site plan, a conditional use permit for multifamily, Sustainability bonus request for the additional 1 story, and then a waiver for reduced parking. You can go to the next slide, to show the aerial. This area is fronting on Second Avenue between Detroit and Buffalo.
Sorry to interrupt your flow, Lauren, but Scott, if you can make sure to share the screen, so.
I think it's being shared. That's probably your almost.
Ominous voice.
So my mom,
And this area is in an area of, kind of ready for some redevelopment, reinvestment, surrounded by a mix of, multifamily residential, single family residential, and commercial uses. A lot of the land uses and zoning are more intense, commercial high, got the T, got the mixed use category.
We seem to be stuck in some sort of. Why? I can't get back to.
Sherry, I'll share it from home.
Okay, I'm having trouble getting back to.
Is this a good place to stop, Lauren, or when should I stop?
No, I just wanted the site plan of, with,
Like this one?
We're not seeing it. Hold on.
it's frozen, Aaron. We're seeing Anthony and us.
Yeah.
I think if you click the blue square one, the camera, that's the screen, like on that bottom with the 5 icons, the one next to your folder. That's where you see what.
Okay, here we go.
The ticket,
Thank you.
that's the ticket.
Here we go.
Okay.
perfect.
She's got
thank
it.
you.
Are
Okay.
we normal?
Perfect, that's what I was looking for. If you go to the next one, please, Jen. So the size of the site is roughly 2.4 acres. We're proposing 60 units on the property. That's a density of 24.9 dwelling units per acre. We talked about the bedrooms, so we are asking for a sustainable bonus height of 1 floor, so approximately 6 feet. If you can go to the next one. Also on the site, there is the leasing and management office as well as top lot. The applicant is requesting a waiver for the parking reduction. I just want to note that the applicant has agreed to provide an on-street parking, which will offset that waiver once it's built and built out there. And then it'll be 19 spaces. Then this is the elevation of what the units will look like. And then the next one, if you can go to that, shows the leasing office and top lot. And so I just want to talk about the sustainability bonus height to increase to the 3rd story. So we all know, we've heard it in the news, counties experiencing a housing crisis city is like really the whole nation is. I was watching the news last night, and they actually called out South Florida as being like the hardest hit area in the country for housing prices. So this additional story will allow for 20 additional units to be developed on the property to help kind of address that issue. So then to offset for the sustainability bonus, we are going to obtain Florida Green Building certification and put in some street trees where our offsite parking is going to be provided. I have my client Bree Limmerman with me. If you have any specific questions that should be directed to her, to the developer. Otherwise, I'm here to answer any questions you may have.
Questions, guys?
Sure, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Wonder if we could see the, parking plan? Do you have a parking plan that shows where the on-street parking is?
So we don't have that yet, because that will be the minor site plan amendment, but I've been told that we are going to be asked to put parking on, and Aaron, correct me if I'm wrong, Second Avenue and
Detroit.
Detroit.
That's
On
correct.
both streets, on both streets.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
8 and 9 are what,
It would be a total of 19.
right, so.
Is that your final landscape?
No,
That's
that's a
conceptual.
regular.
I know, but is that the technical final landscape?
No, it's a conceptual.
That's an issue, because I'm looking at this, and it looks pretty ungreen. It doesn't look as sparse, right?
Mhm.
It'd just be interesting to see where it is.
I mean, we're gonna meet the city's landscape code, the buffers around it. It has to be, it's gonna be pretty tight in here as far as the trees are required. and
It always helps to have to go back.
regulatory.
Right.
I don't see shade trees, and shade trees would probably help.
There will be shade trees in the parking islands and then around in the buffer. I think it's one every 25 feet.
What type of trees are you using? You're using, I'm sure, multiple types of trees, but
Probably oaks, types of shade trees around the buffer.
What does provide on-street parking mean? What does it mean to provide on-street parking? I mean, it's already a public street. I assume you can park on the side of it.
It's gonna be.
William Waters, Community Sustainability. The first rule in Lakewood for speech is never to see anything. I put that in place 11.5 years ago. Right now, Second Avenue, though it does have a right of way width, does not have on-street parking. Detroit Street did have on-street parking stripe, but it was removed and it was remilled and resurfaced maybe 4 years ago. So we're asking them to put on-street, to actually widen the finished right of way of Second Avenue, to put on parking on that street and add street islands for trees, and then slip back the street level parking on Detroit, but also add as part of that street trees on little islands there'll be 5 islands of trees on Detroit and 3 on, actually it's 6 on Second Avenue North and 3 on Detroit to add 9 street trees. Yeah. Per our standard operating procedure with public service, whenever you improve a site, you have to actually provide it with trade and development, let you have it. The curve and that is in kind of sad shape at this point. And then in order to the street parking, the new curve has to be put on Second Avenue as well as the benefit system. And one safety, I'd like to.
and of course, that will be done before CO's given. Okay?
It would have to.
So just,
Just once the CO is given, the project's finished and done, we don't have the recourse.
That's why I wanted to ask that.
so just so we're clear, the on-street parking, what was it, 19?
We're estimating between 19 and 21 spaces, depends on how the islands work out with the private and out. But it hasn't been actually finalized yet. That's why more information to do with my.
But it would be a minimum of 19.
Yes,
So they're parallel parking spaces.
yes.
And that's part of the 90, right? Not
No, that's in addition.
Oh, in addition to the 90.
That's why they don't have to have a parking area anymore.
I see. Okay. So in other words, they meet the requirement if we count those on-street parking
Parking
spaces.
allows.
Okay. Great.
Any other questions? Folks?
One other question, the Florida green building certificate, which level of green building are you trying to achieve? Because you may or may not get it, but
We typically aim for silver, you've seen that on our last work, like action for development within the last year.
after all the trash and the other things and it's still time to.
So that they all.
Can the applicant talk a little bit about the transit-oriented development aspect of this project?
No.
I saw a lot about TOD in the staff report.
There is TOD future land use.
Okay,
Which doesn't cover the zone that they have. They haven't asked for change in zoning. And there's TOD zoning to the east and Firewall Station. But they haven't asked for rezoning to facilitate the TOU requirements.
Could they
Which
put,
would have increased the density of things quite a bit.
could they put a triangle station that close to the high
It's already
school?
there, within a quarter of a mile of the site. The tri-rail at Holiday Summer Park.
Right,
is down the street.
Oh, okay.
On Bus Street. The airport.
Anybody else have questions?
The process, will it run, concurrently, or start one first? And then go the other for the minor site plan? Or they running, are they applying at the same time? Like, with
Well,
all
the minor site plan is reviewed by staff.
Okay,
And
right,
then part of the application, they will have to put together their final site plan based on the city commission approval, everything kind of that. Next to reading, before they go to, permitting, it can happen simultaneously while it's in permitting, they should put in the final site plan. And the request is part of that zoning review of building permit on minor site plan amendment.
right. I just wanted to know if it was gonna be available at the same time to see, you know, that it's actually been done before the, I'm sure you guys can look it over. Okay.
How many buildings in all told? Three. And they're all three obviously gonna get the extra floor, if that's what we're asking for.
No, it's only 2 residential buildings that are gonna be
Okay.
three-story, the third building is the leasing office.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else? Are there any members of the community here to speak in favor of or against this particular case? No one. Oh, we have one here.
I did have one comment from a nearby resident, and you'll see the attachment in your package.
Right,
And I can read it to you briefly if you'd like to hear it. This is from Jose Pereira and Josefina Pereira, owners of 20 North Buffalo Street. They object to the approval for the following reasons. The location of the dumpster, the proposed dumpster will be located at the southwest corner of the site adjacent to our property. We will be overlooking the dumpster, be exposed to smells and noises from the garbage trucks maneuvering. The garbage trucks will have to make several turns to engage the dumpster because the street is not wide enough. The site plan shows a multitude of alternative spaces for dumpster placement away from any adjacent properties at the northwest corner of North Buffalo, all of Second Avenue North, and all of Detroit. And the second concern was the notice received states that the developer requests to increase the height by 1 story to make it a 4-story, but you know, it is 3 stories. So this will be a detriment to our 2-story single-family houses view, which directly overlooks the proposed development site to the north. Current height limits are 3 stories. We are opposed to the building to be built at 26 Buffalo Street to be more than 3 stories high.
so they're happy with a 3-story building, not a 4-story, is that correct?
Correct. I mean, I don't know that they're happy, but
Well, I mean.
they
they're
object,
not jumping
they
up and
object to
down.
4 stories.
Okay.
And
We can live right where they want.
so they're actually located in Palm Beach County. They're not within the city limits.
That's right.
The boundary of the city is right between this site and this property. There's a photo of the property there, and additionally, the owner does not live at this site. As you
Okay.
can see from the attachment there,
Okay.
Papa, that's Wellington address.
Um,
So is it multifamily in that house?
Neighborhood commercial.
I can't, yeah, it's zone neighborhood commercial. It appears that it may be because I see a dumpster here. I don't know.
That's multi-county in any event.
Correct.
So are we approving the site plan that's not provided here?
As staff presented the conceptual site plan due that they didn't provide instructions for the commission, which requested on that. Now adapting the minor site plan into the pipeline.
And then you bring that all at one time. That all come at one time, right?
you got what you got.
Okay, we've got what we've got, but that would go to the commission at the same time.
Well, I got to go to the commission next Wednesday.
Oh. Yeah, that's what it is.
I wonder if we could have another look at the site plan, because I didn't notice where the dumpster location was with this letter.
I didn't see it.
Sure, I'll pull it up. And I'll just also mention too that we often use minor site plans after the fact to enforce conditions of approval prior to permit. So this is not something atypical. Especially sometimes the city commission will add conditions to the site and then we require the minor on the back end prior to permit. So so this is kind of a very, very typical process. Let me pull up that site plan for you and you can take a look. The dumpster is in the south west corner of the property.
We're not seeing your screen.
Hold on one second. I'm getting there. That's right here. There's also a lift station here.
That's that one.
Did you all keep this up or?
Any other thing we want to see?
Is there a Google map or something? We can see what the neighborhood outside the property line.
We can fill out the zoning now, but it's done with the area, what we decided to do earlier.
It was on yours.
Lauren has a aerial right there.
Okay.
You said their address was Buffalo Street? At least structure for now. Person that wrote in. Mhm.
This is a commercial plaza here. This is a gas station. This is an auto repair and auto sales location, and they actually have an outdoor lift. This is not in the city of Lake Worth Beach. This is not in the city of Lake Worth Beach. And then this is this property. You can see the trailer park here.
Then finding that property in question on Lake Worth Road is actually an FPU gas pump station. So the property
Propane, right,
for propane, they weren't running the gas pump, that was natural gas.
that propane.
I don't think we can do it through here because that's just a small. I can't. I have to look more something.
Any other questions, guys?
Would you all, if you don't have any discussion, is there a motion? Is there?
We haven't gotten to that point yet, but we're getting ready. If there's no discussion, is anybody interested in making a motion?
I would do the better bad news, but my issue is that I don't like voting on something that I don't really know what the full picture is. I'm a little bit disturbed by the whole thing, to be quite honest. There's a site plan that's supposed to be there. I just saw a sketch. Supposed to be a landscape plan, but not on the. There's all these things and all of a sudden we're supposed to approve it, but it's not really in front of us. And I have an issue with that, whether that's the process. I'm sorry, I think, you know, we need to look at things and actually look at what's going on. So.
I thought the same thing when I first got the email from Sherry a week or two ago, several weeks ago, whatever it was.
We had the same issue with one of the buildings up the street here, and we brought it up, plans coming in incomplete. You know, it's just a rendering. You know, it's up to decide on something.
Yes, it is. Wait, what's the logic behind not having that other information as part of the package? I know you guys are busy and everybody's
I might have
busy.
to ask, this project was rushed a little faster than I expected as well, but the issue with the on-street parking, I'm making up today. To actually facilitate not having to have the tot lot be requested as a waiver to apply the sustainable bonus. And there were some people out of the office that it took a while to arrange, so we could just determine what parameters we were going to request in order to put that on-street parking on Second in Detroit.
Is there a life or death reason why only trying to rush this on the
I'll have to
commission?
let the applicant do that, answer that question.
There's not a life or death that you're aware of.
I don't know. I'm not
Okay.
I was gonna say, I mean, I apologize, I mean, we submitted site plan, engineering plans, landscape plans, to show where the shade trees are. And
Today,
I'm sorry.
was that today?
No, it's in your packet,
Okay.
it should be, so, so I apologize.
All of the.
I apologize, as you say, as far as the why it needs to move forward entirely has to do with funding, which I'll let Bree speak to.
Yeah, it's truly just that we have funding every investor that wants to move forward with it. Every minute we own the land and we start built, everyone loses money on it, so it loses traction and all that. And I know the program members want to provide units to the area as well, so mine is up to us. Yes, but yes.
Greg, if I can comment, and maybe I'm misunderstanding, but I'm looking at the packet here and it looks like on page 45, and I think going on to 46 and 47, this looks like the landscape plan in there. One, were you looking for a more in-depth landscape plan? Like I see one page on here.
Right. One of the issues is, I mean, if it comes through, I understand people are trying to get things going. But the fact that, let's say the renderings and the actual plans are, you know, coordinated or whatever. These are things that are asked of every other architect that comes through here. And it would just be nice to have them report and the right responses. That's it.
Yeah, I guess I'm confused. This is Erin, of what you all, because when we uploaded the packet, there was the site plan, the conceptual civil, the landscape plan, the tree mitigation plan, the photometric plan, and the renderings, and the architectural elevations. So there was a full plan set there. Now, the landscape plan did not identify the exact tree species, but they identified the type of tree species, whether it was a large tree or small tree. And they had the conceptual.
The renderings were done prior to.
I
the
have to
final
admit,
plan.
I don't think ever had a rendering submitted that exactly the pixel landscape plan.
I was gonna ask the attorney if a rendering is required for us to approve this, for like competent substantial evidence purposes. Does there have to be a rendering? And if so, does it have, to what extent does it have to be accurate and up to date? I wouldn't actually, I mean, the rendering is obviously what we look at first, like, oh, this is a great looking project, but for me, it seems like our role is really just to make sure that the plans are there and that staff has approved them. Staff has gone through them and approved them, and the whole thing sort of passes the smell test. That's, I mean, Ms. Linehan, that's how I understand the competent substantial evidence standard.
Anthony, what were you gonna say? A few minutes ago?
Yeah, and I can't hear terribly well in there, but I think what I heard Juan saying is that the landscape plan wasn't there. I see a landscape plan, and I think Aaron had further commented on it. I see renderings on here as well in what I'm looking at in the, the packet that we were provided. So I may have missed something, what you guys were talking about in terms of these items missing. So if I did, my apologies, but I'm seeing these here.
I mean, it just seems to me like including a rendering would be a best practice, obviously. But the fact that it's not here, I don't think should be, to the extent the plans are there and they've been reviewed by staff, I would not have an issue approving, an unupdated rendering.
Well, yeah, they do have a rendering. It's just not, it doesn't show exactly what their design is, which is not uncommon.
But, yes. Well, I said, yeah, but, yeah, it's fine. It might not be uncommon, but,
Oh, it's better to visualize what we're actually getting.
yes.
Because the rendering is what helps us all visualize what the project is about.
Were you gonna say something, Lynn?
I was just gonna say normally with architecture renderings, probably what this architect did, I did not do that, but they like to minimize the landscaping so you can actually see the building, because most people care about what the building is gonna look like. Like I said, I'm just speaking kind of off the cuff from the architect who isn't here. So,
Question, the sustainable bonus, what they're doing for the parking will cover the whole sustainable bonus? Is there any other components?
This project originally came in before the city commission changed the policy of the sustainable bonus program, of which half of it has to be paid to the city in the form of a check. This project is incorporating paying the city half of the sustainable bonus value and incorporating clean building certification to qualify half of the other half or quarter. And the quarter remaining is the additional features that we kind of figure out that based on what all is having to be approved, it likely will meet the sustainable bonus requirements without additional funding having been provided to the city. If it doesn't meet that additional quarter, they'll be writing a little bit larger check to the city.
And the new one has more, I guess, affordable housing.
No, that hasn't happened yet. We've got to review that ordinance. That ordinance is theoretically going before the city commission, hopefully on August 2nd, with the other two that you voted to move forward, and it will be in place by the end of the fiscal year. But once it hits the hearing state, and that's actually advertised, it'll be in progress for future application.
And it doesn't matter if the complexion of this governing board up here has a few replacements between now and August, right? If there's members on this board right now, there won't be at that August meeting.
That's the city commission. We've already voted on major recommendations.
This is all we have to do, this one. Yeah, okay.
We made recommendations for the city commission that historic resource preservation board heard it last week.
Yeah.
And then we're trying to schedule the hearing in August. The final one.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
You wanna take a stab at it?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, bear with me because I left my glasses at home.
Can somebody pull up the two motions for so let me be?
Did you see the screen? Can you use your screen?
I have it here. I move to approve with conditions. PZB project number 21-01-00001 for a residential plan development, major site plan, conditional use and sustainable bonus incentive program to construct a 60-unit multifamily residential development at the subject site based upon the competent and substantial evidence provided in the staff report and the testimony at the public hearing.
It wasn't in second for the time. Can we just make it clarify that it's the conditions as presented in the PowerPoint, not in the site plan that you have, because the new conditions show on-street parking and street requirement. Your staff report doesn't show that.
I'll so amended.
Thank you, sir.
We have a motion with amendment on the floor. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the vote. All those in favor as stated motion, amended stated motion. Say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Chair, unanimous. This time I clear out about half the house. Okay. Moving right along. PZB Board Project number 21-005 00010. It's a major site plan and conditional use permit request for the construction of 8-unit townhouses. A townhouse complex on private lots of record at 1719 to 1737 North Federal Highway within the mixed use Federal Highway MUFU zoning district. This was.
Mr. Chair, if you'll call for board disclosures.
Any more disclosures on this particular case?
Nothing.
Nothing.
None.
Okay, Mr. Chair, members of the board,
Is your battery dead?
One more time.
okay, it's gonna die. Looks like. Good evening, for the record, Scott Rodriguez with the Planning and Zoning Division. The item before you is Lakewood Federal LLC's request for a major site plan and conditional use permit to construct an 8-unit townhouse complex, including additional site improvements on platted lot of record at 1719, 1737 North Federal Highway. Subject site is located at the northeast corner of 18th Avenue North and North Federal Highway and with the mixed-use Federal Highway zoning district. Proposed site plan, which is on the next slide, is showing the 8-townhouse unit proposal. Again, existing on platted lots of record with 23 rear parking spaces. And just to make a clarification, the north is to your left. On to the next slide, please. Table on the right again shows the base zoning district development regulations for the site, paired with what the applicant has provided. The project has been found to be generally consistent with the city's land development regulations related to setbacks, building and permeable lot coverage is higher than they are in the surrounding properties, include a mix of compatible use and zoning districts. Project is consistent with the comprehensive plan, strategic plan, city's LDRs as conditioned. I do want to note again that under the administrative use and conditional use standards, this project does not meet 2 of the 7 current standards, which limits the townhouse units in a row to 4 units. This consistency with this, the section is not required as a project is modifying a previously approved project where the existing townhouse lots were platted and the project is basically going forward as with the platted lots of record. So these requirements do not apply. Staff recommends approval of the conditional use permit and major site plan as outlined on pages 6 to 8 of the staff report. And here are the actions the board may consider. That concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Is the applicant here? Would you like to come up?
Good evening. I'll wait for Aaron to pull up our presentation, but for the record, David Village on behalf of the applicant. So we're here tonight seeking a major site plan and conditional use permit. Next slide, please. So the subject property is just under half an acre. It's 0.44 acres. For this future land use, it is a 20 units per acre density. We are proposing 8 units. It's going to be consistent of 6 3-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms. They're all above the minimum required for these type of units. Next slide, please. As Scott had mentioned, this was previously approved in 2008 for an 8-unit project, and it was subsequently platted in 2009. Next slide, please. These are the surrounding uses. They're all compatible with the exception of the southwest corner of the property. All other properties are within the mixed use district. Next slide, please. So this is the subject property. It's on North Federal Highway on the south side of 18th Avenue North. Next slide, please. These are the surrounding properties. To the north is a multifamily property. To the west is a single family property. Next slide. And to the northeast and to the east are commercial developments. Next slide, please. And to the south is a medical office. Next slide. So traffic for the property will be mainly used in the North Federal Highway as the ingress. Next slide. And then egress is the same. We'll all be utilizing North Federal Highway. Next slide, please. So this is just a colored site plan of the property. As you can see, it was designed and configured so that the building engages North Federal Highway as anticipated by your major thoroughfare guidelines. And also, as you will note, that parking is rear loaded, so it provides screening away from the major road. Next slide. So this is just a cleaned up perspective. Again, the property is again, the property is accessed off of 18th Avenue. So the cars will be utilizing this private driveway. The property does have landscape buffers around the perimeter of the property, and as you can see, hit it one more time. There are substantial amount of street trees around the property, which include live oaks, eagles and hollies, gumbo lindos, pigeon plums, silver buttonwoods. We also have sables, triple Alexanders, and as our shrub, we have purple plums, small leaf Pelusia, and then Simpson stopper. Next slide. So this is just a kind of a bare bones architectural rendering of the property, just to show you the architectural design. It's a Anglo-Caribbean style with stucco and hardy board up on the top. You can see it in blue. We have porches for each unit coming onto the federal highway that are covered. Next slide. As Scott had mentioned, we are consistent with all criteria of the city's code and are consistent with the major thoroughfare design guidelines. Next slide, please. And one more time. Well, at the end, we had just the public site plan that you guys wanted to report back to. And I'm available for any questions. We have the owner developer here as well. We can answer any questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Who wants to be first? Do we have any letters from the public?
No, we do not.
Okay,
Are these rentals or are these condos?
So these are legally structured as condominiums. The owner anticipates holding on to the ownership of them for the foreseeable future.
it's first floor gonna be concrete block?
Uh,
In the Hardy way?
Well, I mean, a condo cannot stretch over lots of records. That has to be townhouses or one unified parcel of the same condominiums. So it's gonna be condominium.
Well, I mean, well, I'll correct it.
Well, that's strong.
Yeah, they're townhomes, that are all individually owned by the developer, the property owner. They anticipate, at least for the short term, renting them, and then eventually they will, disperse, or sorry, convey the rest of them for typical feasible.
So what you're saying, they'll be fee simple and then they'll be separate, they won't be, I guess they won't be higher, sprinklers and things like that, if they wouldn't, then they wouldn't. So
Yes, so right now, from just a legal standpoint, they're just townhomes that are gonna remain owned by the developer.
And they were platted prior just for the sale of the property, or I guess it was part of the previous approval.
Yeah, the previous approval.
It's a way to do the government on the little sheet in the sense that you don't have to meet the fire requirements when everybody owns it. Like, the owner will then own it. He could own all of it. Then for us, and that's just pieces of the thing.
Is the first floor concrete block?
Yes, sir. It will be a concrete shell.
Second floor.
Both just main floor, this,
Second floor.
tilt wall or
They'll probably be concrete block.
it's not concrete wall? Question, anybody?
One comment, I do like that they elevated the first floor significantly higher than the grade. Provides better privacy for the people who live there. Seems like some project, we don't see that, and I think it's a good thing.
Anybody wanna?
I wasn't sure about the dumpster location and the relationship between the dumpster and the alley on the site plan.
There's no alley. The alley actually stops. I believe it only goes maybe 10 to 15 feet parallel to the subject property and then stops. So that it dead ends. So it doesn't go all the way through.
Could you show us on the site plan?
Aaron, if you go to, one of the last slides, I have a site plan, at the back. Or
Here's
you
the
can
aerial,
add
you
my
can see the
box out.
alley goes here, and then here's the property.
Yeah, so the alley actually hooks to the west and goes in between those, I guess, single family homes. So you can see maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 units have the alley behind it, and then it stops and they go west.
Could you show the site plan again?
Hold on one second, I'm gonna pull up the site plan in the package. Hold on.
The dumpster is a concrete block enclosure. We have edge material around it. I believe it's a Lucia around it, provide proper screening. The door for the dumpster enclosure will be a louver metal door.
Your property line jog,
So the property line does jog in the southwest corner,
I see,
so it's not perfect line.
I see, that's why I was confusing.
Yeah, so it's slightly wider towards the north. If you can if you want to look at this on the south, sorry, the plan, you know, bottom right, you can see that slight jog.
Who got that other property? Who got that little piece of property?
That's the city's.
Okay,
Yeah, that would be the alley, the right of way.
Like, was vacant at some point.
yeah, that's what it looks like, yeah. It was there at one time.
Now, we were saying north is to the left on this
North,
plan,
on this plan, north is to the left. Yes.
but what's our neighbor on the west?
The neighbor, they're within the mixed use district, however, I believe based off a screen or a street photo.
And there's no requirement for the dumpster enclosure to have any setback from the property line? I guess I'm asking the staff that question.
No, generally, Public Works did look at the plan as well and look for the location of the dumpster. They were fine.
Do we need to call 911 back there?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize I was not muted.
Just checking. Anybody else have questions, comments, concerns? Anthony, you all right?
Yep, I'm good, pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I like, as was already mentioned, I think by Ed, the raised up entrances. I think it looks like a nice project and meets everything. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Anybody want to try to make a stand on the motion? Amended motion. Anyway.
I move to approve with conditions the request for PZB project number 21-005 000. We got them on 010. Conditional use permit and major site plan based upon the competent and substantial evidence provided in the staff report and in the testimony at the public hearing.
We have a motion. Do
Second,
we need a separate motion for each one because they're individually? Okay.
You do not, Mr. Chairman.
There is one condition I'd like to add, knowing that it may come up for sale later, and this is to avoid the confusion and consternation we have on 2 other projects, is that at the time that the developer would like to sell the unit, that the homeowner documents is provided if it's a comment and review.
In fact, you want to add that as a
I'll add what you said.
The applicant has no objection.
You're happy with that?
I amended.
We have a second.
I'd second it.
Okay, that's right, Andy, sorry, okay. You're all right
Yep,
with
and
that?
I'm good with the amended motion for my second.
Thank you. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
I guess, William, what you're headed toward is basically like maybe a change in business use or something that may happen if they were sold as a group or something, or?
Well, no, we have a couple of townhouse projects that the city was never afforded the opportunity to do the homeowner jobs.
Sorry.
And when things go awry, the city gets all the way, and we have no recourse.
Right.
We have another one where there's a combination of a homeowners association, a master association, and an apartment contract. And their documents we've been working on for 2.5 years, Aaron, maybe. It's not worked out, but the relationship of all that is not working very easily. If you think just an apartment complex, one person is in control of how it's operated. When it gets to multiple owners, once the developers start selling them, there's a state statute that when they can own that disclosure to the state, and then there has to be a board, and it gets complicated. We like to have at least have the opportunity to see how they envision the townhouse homeowners association operating, so that we can hopefully avoid any kind of trouble later. Versus, I would like my next whoever inherits this job might have to deal with some of the have to deal with in the past 10 years.
You're not going anywhere though in the foreseeable future, correct?
And not the foreseeable future, but I'm not gonna last forever.
And what about like change of use and other things like that? I mean, I think it's gonna be difficult condo laws and condo things.
Well, change of use triggers the building code automatically, even if it's a mixed use district. As if we can talk about it under planning comments, but we do have a mixed use plan on project two of them, if you want to.
But what you're saying, no, what I'm saying is this would trigger something like that as well. Like you said, put them together and say, okay, we're gonna do a change of use. And if this would, or whatever, then it would have to come back to the board or something. I'm just saying, you're saying.
And allow use, yeah.
Would they all have to be put on the market at the same time, or did he sell them one at a time, or? One did you, I'm
You
just,
could sell them one at a time, but once one of them is sold, now the owner of the developer, there has to be creation of a homeowners association, which is governed by Florida statutes and rules up there. And the developer can only maintain ownership of a certain percentage and before it has to be turned over to the homeowners association. I got overly involved in this in condo in my end.
They have rights of refusal. They could go.
Oh, yeah.
Or, that condo laws.
yes, they are. William, that wasn't the Surfside project you're talking about.
No.
Okay, and just one question.
So the difference between a townhouse association and a condo association?
Yes, there is.
There you go.
Okay.
We can go to that different, I don't want to waste the applicant's time, but we can go to that. You can have a little condo and townhouse and homeownership law if you want.
You know. Well, we have a motion with a second. So in a discussion. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign, okay. Sherry, ayes have it, unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, thanks for coming back, good to see you. For listening, all right, okay. Let's look and see here, yes, that's our back page. Annual organization meeting, we're still gonna do that tonight, you wanna wait, or? Sherry, what do you wanna do?
Oh, hey, it doesn't matter to me. It's up to you. Maybe
Aaron,
Aaron has an idea.
Aaron, what would you prefer?
Well, because we had misunderstood that there was going to be a vote on the board appointments on that weekend. That's why we had postponed it to this date. But I think you all had wanted to push it until after the appointments was the discussion. So
Okay.
we just kind of got clarity on that today. I think we'll push it to August if that's okay. If you guys feel more comfortable with that. Or, sorry, July,
July,
sorry.
August. That all right?
Fine with me.
Okay, we'll postpone that to a date certain, which is 2 days after the 4th of July. Which is.
I note that then your next meeting will actually be, I know Sherry sent out notices, but I just want to confirm the next meeting is July 20th.
Okay.
We have canceled the first meeting in July and rescheduled it to the 20th. I'm going to be on vacation the week before.
And we did that for what reason? Because I don't remember.
We have some pending applications that we're not going to be able to make the first July meeting, but could make the backup date. And also because of our staffing, we have several folks who want to take holidays around that time. So we thought to give staff like me a little bit of a break as well.
And we definitely want to keep staff happy, so we can juggle schedules, I guess. Well, then what about this? Any planning issues that we need to be aware of for this July 20th meeting?
Just a reminder, the second reading for the Dolphin Hotel is next Tuesday, the 21st, and we'll be the 15th. The original notice that went out didn't specify any holiday. That is.
What are the chances of that? one particular case being taken off the consent agenda,
Which particular case?
like Wall Street.
It's not on the consent.
It wasn't?
I looked on the public. Hearing.
Oh. Okay, must have been late.
I'm not prepared for it to be on the consent agenda.
Well, I'll look at it when I get home. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay, any other partner reports? Board member comments? I guess not. Looks like we're gonna get ready to line this one up. I want to thank everybody for coming out. What crowd we have left, want to say thanks, staff.
Bye, everybody.
I don't see you before, I'll see you next time. Okay, I'll call this planning and zoning meeting